All right, I'm currently live on YouTube. Let me get the Facebook and the IG set up real quick. All right. I'm not sure why it's not. All right, bear with me, whoever's on YouTube. All right, sweet. Facebook is deciding to start working now. All right, YouTube's good, Facebook's good. All right. See if the lighting. Oh, that lighting's not very good. This lighting. This is it. All right, play a little music to get everyone pumped up for the live. All right, this makes like 5 minutes. We'll chill for around 5 minutes. Get some people in here. Let's go. The Slotty King CEO is here. Don't be freezing on me. Okay, it's only 4 minutes. Yeah, if anyone wants to know who makes this mix, it's Sick Kick Music. It's the guy that wears the mask. You might see him on TikTok or Reels or whatever. He's sick. He has great music, great mixes. And the hack is he doesn't upload a lot of his mixes on iTunes or Apple Music or Spotify just because it's like other people's music. So find it on SoundCloud. You can download the mashups there. That's the hack, ultimate hack, SoundCloud, bro. And I guess I could have just hopped straight into the topic, but this mix is so good. It's hard. I can't not play it. All right, but anyway, but today's topic, purpose. Purpose is important. Every dude needs a purpose. There's a couple different purposes, two main purposes that I kind of think through and seems logical and makes sense. So obviously everything is just my opinion, but I will have some statistics in there as well because I love statistics. Statistically proven that this goes hard. This playlist. All right. All right, it's about to end. We're gonna start soon. I'll just right there. All right, sweet. Welcome, people that are present. Like I said, all of these will be saved on my Instagram, my YouTube, and I created a new Facebook page, so I won't be posting on my personal Facebook anymore. I have a Facebook page for all this stuff, so be sure to follow that and more constant updates with that. I'm going to try to stay on top of updating all three of these places. But for anyone who's on IG or anyone who's on Facebook right now, hop over to YouTube. That'd be greatly appreciated. YouTube's kind of in the future is going to be more of the long form. All of my long form content is going to be on there. So kind of just get everyone at one place eventually. So if you see this, follow my link on YouTube. If you want the link, then let me know. I can send it to people. But let's go ahead and begin tonight. Purpose, like I mentioned earlier. What's your purpose? Why do men need one? And this is honestly, this is a pretty deep topic. I've had countless discussions with me and my other circle, multiple different people, kind of people I look up to in my life, as well as people I've given advice to. I think this is all encompassing, and obviously everyone needs a purpose for sure, but especially men. And we live in a society nowadays where, I think everyone goes through a point in their lives when they're just like, I don't know, like, what am I doing? Like, what, like, why am I just doing the things I'm doing? Why am I going to school? Why am I going to church every single week? Why am I doing these things? I'm not sure what to do with my life. I'm sure everyone has, and if you haven't, you definitely will sometime in your life. And this is I'm going to be talking about the importance of that's an important step in your life and recognizing what to do. And unfortunately, there's a lot of guys that unfortunately they can't overcome that, and they, like my guy Rich Cooper says, they take a permanent solution to temporary problems, and that's really unfortunate. So I'm going to try to prevent that from a lot of guys and a lot of people out there, just because it happens. One of my friends, he posted on Facebook and said, yeah, I kind of wanted to self-delete myself, and terrible. But luckily he was able to get through that, and he was able to, you can even see it in his face and throughout his posts and stuff, that he just find more of a purpose, like for living and to continue on through life, which is awesome, which is the goal for everyone. So I'm sure everyone's heard the quote. It was quoted on Joe Rogan quoted as well. Most men lead lives of quiet desperation, and you could generalize that to all people, but I think especially guys, and I think that's mainly true, especially today in today's age, where and just a lot of guys are lost nowadays, and they're just kind of like going through the motions, don't really know what they're doing, and obviously you can see this in the dating market, because girls want guys, just natural. Girls are hypergamous. They want equal or higher in the socioeconomic hierarchy, and typically don't settle for anyone less or lower. So, and unfortunately, there's a lot of dudes that, like I talked about earlier, they're not really doing too much with their lives. Their lives aren't captivating. And they're just kind of living life, and that's not very attractive to chicks. Chicks aren't looking for that. So there's a lot of guys that just don't have success in dating, and that's just how it is. But want to improve that. And not only that quote, but I was looking up some statistics, because obviously I'm a statistics dude, but according to Forbes, about 900 million people around the world. That's a lot of people. It's almost 1 billion people. Was there 8 billion people in the world? So like 1 in every 8 people. 900 million people around the world feel unfulfilled in their daily lives. And then, granted, this is based off of people that were surveyed. So I don't even know how many people they actually surveyed, but 900 million people, they feel unfulfilled in their daily lives. And 7% of working Americans are unhappy in their current job. I'm sure a lot of you right now are not very happy with their job. And there's a difference between being unhappy and, just because in any job there's going to be difficulties, you're going to have to do stuff you don't want to do. That's just the nature of a job, and honestly, it's the nature of being a dude. You're going to have to do stuff that you don't want to do. You just do it because you need to do it. But that doesn't mean that you're just hating your life every single day. Yeah, exactly. So, and okay, so there are 70% of Americans are unhappy with their current job. Similarly, even though having a purpose can increase your lifespan, only 25% of people feel certain they knew the purpose of their life. And the rest either said they were unsure, didn't know, which honestly is very true. I'd say, honestly, it's probably a lot higher. I mean, 25% people feel they're uncertain, and the rest say they were unsure, didn't know. So that's pretty much all people. And it's not just here in the United States. I think it's definitely prevalent here in the United States. But Japan, when I was a missionary, talking to a lot of guys that were my similar age and other people, and talk about the purpose of life and what they think about it, and they're like, "Oh, I never thought about that before." They're just like told to go to school, get a good job, work a ton. They work a lot over there. Possibly have a family. A lot of people don't, and have kids, raise a family, and die, or go in an old person home. And people in Japan, they live like 100 years old, so they live a long time. So I'm going to break down like what is a purpose, and this is kind of my view and thoughts of it, kind of pondering and thinking about it. So obviously I'm a religious member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and the LDS Church, and we have this gospel purpose. So kind of our gospel purpose while we're here on earth living this temporal mortal life is to return to our heavenly parents. We're here to gain experience, and live a faithful life and try to become as much like Jesus Christ as we can, and eventually return to our heavenly parents. And also along with that, I also probably add help others come into closer to Christ as well. It's not just you personally, but it's your peers. We live in a world and a society, and you can't just do things necessarily just by yourself. So you need to help others, and that's why we have churches, as well as congregations, to gather together so we can get to our goal collectively. And that's kind of like one part of purpose. There's I'd say two different parts, at least for what I see gospel purpose, and then more of your individual purpose. Obviously, gospel purpose, like I said, it's more of a collective effort as well as an individual effort, but everyone's gospel purpose is somewhat similar, right? However, your individual purpose can vary. You have people that are, and don't get purpose and careers and passions misconstrued. I think those are three different things. And I won't necessarily define each one of those things, but I'll definitely define the individual purpose. When I think of individual purpose, I think of what's something you could do for the rest of your life that you wouldn't get compensated for. And is this something that I'm building or working on? Is it bigger than myself? I think that's kind of where you get individual purpose. That way, passion, because people could argue passion is like, oh, it's something you do for the rest of your life and you don't get paid for it, type of a thing. Like, think of people who like woodworking, or people who like sports, or people that like doing certain hobbies and they make it their passion. Rock climbing. One of my coworkers is super into rock climbing, I could tell, and skiing, and I could tell that's definitely their passion. They'll do that for the rest of their life. But added on to that, and I think passions can become individual purposes as well, but can you take that and build and work on it to something that has an impact bigger than yourself? So it's rather than just personal satisfaction. Say someone who's really into woodworking, is they have that passion of woodworking. If they make it into a purpose, they basically, all right, I'm going to use my passion, woodworking. I'm going to help build schools in impoverished areas around the world. That would be more of a purpose rather than just a passion. So that's kind of what I'd say an individual purpose is. And I really think and believe that you can fulfill your gospel purpose through fulfilling your individual purpose. And I'll go into kind of like how to find your individual purpose, because honestly, I'd say majority of people don't know what their individual purpose is. Everyone, especially in my church, they know what the gospel purpose is. It's kind of, especially if you've been in the church for a while, it's kind of obvious. But a lot of people don't know what their individual purpose is. And that's literally like one half of the puzzle that you need. And a perfect example of this, why you need both, is think of I Serve a Mission, and for people on here or that are familiar with the LDS missions, that the like men and women in their like 18 to their 20s go on. They sometimes go foreign. I serve in Japan. Some people go stateside or their home country, and they go and preach the gospel and teach people about Jesus Christ. And a lot of people struggle, especially missionaries, when they come home, whether they come home early or they complete their full time of service. They struggle because on your mission, we have this thing that we kind of repeat often every single day. Is like our missionary purpose. And it's like our purpose is to help others come closer to Christ through teaching them the restored gospel, and then teaching them, and then it goes on from there. But that's the synopsis of it. That's all right. Our purpose is to go around teaching people and helping them come closer to Christ, essentially. And that's literally your purpose throughout your 24 to 18 months. When missionaries come home, they don't have that purpose anymore. Your life is so structured around that when you come home, you're just kind of like free reign to do it whatever you want, which is awesome. Like, finally watch movies, you can hang out with friends, you don't have a curfew anymore. But a lot of people get lost, and you definitely see that a lot in the church, and a lot of return missionaries, they might not be going to church anymore. And it's unfortunate, but happens more than not. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with that as well. And I'd say, like, I want to share a little bit of my personal experience, my story. As far as finding my individual purpose, it took me, and granted, I don't have it fully grasped yet. I think I definitely have an idea of what my purpose is, and I'm continually developing it. And that's another thing. There's two parts to like your purpose. You need to find it and you need to develop it. You just don't find it, but you need to develop it as well. And it took me like 4 years. I mean, I got back from a mission like 4 years ago to really get an idea of my purpose. And that's come through trying multiple different things, failing on multiple different things, liking some things, not liking other things. Honestly, it's like dating. It's like if you marry the first person you date, I mean, granted, some people do it. I don't think that's a necessarily good idea, but it's proved successful for some people. It's proved unsuccessful for all other people. I'll just leave it at that. But it's like dating. If you date if you marry the first girl you date, you don't necessarily know what you like or what you don't like. Therefore, if you date multiple girls, then you can kind of determine that. And that's the same thing with your purpose. You just hop on the first thing you do, or you do whatever your dad did or your brother did, then you don't know if that's necessarily like your purpose or not. Sometimes they're I'd say more rare than not, like dating. For very few people, that works. And we don't live that this topic and most things like questions like that. It's like, oh, do the first thing that you did because I just knew type of a thing. More times than not, that's not the case for majority of people. For some people, it is. There's rules and there's exceptions, right? We don't live in a non. This is gonna sound weird, especially with like everything going on, but like choices and society is necessarily non-binary. It is non-binary to the point where it's like, yes, I do this, no, I don't do this type of a thing. So, for example, like one funny example is, all right, can guys and girls be friends? It's a normal distribution. There are some guys that can be girls with friends. It's probably a very small percentage of guys, and then large percentage of guys is no, but it's not a straight yes or no answer. So that kind of explains my thought process behind that. Anyway, I digress. Excuse me. So yeah, that's why a lot of missionaries struggle when they come home, because they have this structured, purpose-filled life and lifestyle that they live for an extended period of time. They come home, they don't have any of that structure, they don't have a purpose, and they have to find their purpose. And a lot of people just get caught up. I mean, we're young, you're in your 20s, you have fun and stuff, but I'd say that's like one of the most important things you need to do is find your purpose, and that can, and don't get this and you can connect your gospel purpose with your individual purpose, but they don't necessarily have to be the same thing. Like, it doesn't have to be very spiritual or religious, your individual purpose. It can be, hey, I want to, for example, mine, I like to, I'm helping you guys get stronger, smarter, healthier, and wealthier. And with that entails probably a little bit of religious aspect. Like, I'm talking a lot more about religion today than in my previous content, but it's not like all religious, and it doesn't have to be all religious. Someone's individual purpose could be like, all right, I want to be a hedge fund manager. I'm going to make a ton of money. And then through that, I'm also going to provide a lot of impact for people in a positive way. Unfortunately, all those people are probably doing it for a negative way, but again, that's a different topic for a different day. But you can kind of see them as two separate things that can come together to accomplish your ultimate goal. So that's kind of the story of my life. It kind of started and stopped a little bit. A lot of different things coming back from my mission. Typical thing in Utah. You get recruited into sales, which honestly, my sales experience was really positive. A lot of people's isn't, unfortunately. But I knew that was something I didn't want to do for the rest of my life. Something like, I know tons of people, they're on year 7. More power to them. That's awesome. One of my biggest people I look up to is my old regional manager, Donnie. He's a G. If you have a definition of a BAMF, like, he's one of those. And he'll outwork everyone. He'll outsmart. He's not necessarily the smartest guy, and he's a super smart dude, but he'll outwork anyone. Mamba mentality. But for example, his purpose, he's kind of found it through that. And I don't know necessarily if it's going to continue through summer sales, but I could definitely, it could not. I could definitely see him starting something on his own. He really wanted to put an impact on young individuals' lives. And because his experience had a great impact on his life and setting himself up financially, mindset wise, and developed his mindset to be successful and help other people to become successful at a young age as well. And that's basically his purpose. And that's awesome. So shout out to him. But how to find and develop a purpose, this is very difficult. I'd say finding and developing is equally difficult, just because finding one, it's like, all right, cool. It's more than just what do I like to do, because you can have stuff that you like to do, but it's not going to be your purpose. Like, I like playing basketball, but I knew relatively quickly that I'm probably not going to be I had the opportunity to play college. It wasn't Division 1. That was kind of like my goal. And that didn't happen. Obviously, I knew I probably didn't have a chance in the NBA. So reality kind of set in. So I knew like that's something I enjoy doing. I'd say it's somewhat of a passion, but it's not my purpose. Purpose is like, and also I think purpose is being the best at what you're doing in the marketplace or in the world as well. So that's one thing as well. But you just can't do like base it off of things you like doing, or you have to try so many different things. And that's like the number one. Try as many different jobs and different hobbies and different things as possible, because just like dating, you don't know what you like, what you don't like if you've never tried it. So just like a job, lots of people, hey, I'm going to be an accountant because my dad was an accountant. Cool. Well, have you ever tried this? And honestly, I thought I knew what I wanted to do when I entered college. I was like, oh, I'm going to be a geologist. I'm going to work for an oil and gas company and I'm going to rake in a ton of money. And then I've kind of went into it. I'm like, actually, this isn't what I want to do. I thought I knew what I wanted to do, but took international business class, did sales. I'm like, oh, business. That's the thing for me. I'm like 99% sure. And so far, so good. And honestly, it's probably, yeah, I do believe it's the right way for me and for the rest of my life. But I wouldn't have ever done that if I never took this international business class. I wouldn't have ever found out that if I didn't do a sales job. I wouldn't have ever done that if I tried new things and met new people. And that's the kind of the third step is try as many things as possible and honestly then try to meet new people in it, because new people open up different opportunities provide different experiences can help you really narrow down to what is your purpose and what is the path that you need to go to. And the second point before I skip to the third point is fail at a lot of stuff. A lot of people will try things and they won't dive themselves in enough where they have the opportunity of failing, because I think it's apparent you know what you want to do when you try it and you fail at it, but you have that continual drive to overcome your failure. Because a lot of people try a lot of things and they fail at it. And most people, for example, golf is a pretty good example. And you try golf, and golf is a super hard sport, one of the hardest sports out there. A lot of people try, a lot of people fail, and as soon as they fail, they give up. But the real ones, the ones that try, they fail, and they keep going, and eventually they develop their skills where they're top world class. Those are the people that's their purpose. So fail at a lot of things, because then it'll be pretty clear whether you're meant to do it or you're not meant to do it, because you have that drive, not only just innate ability and talent, but you have that drive. You have the capacity and the discipline, not just the motivation. You establish discipline to hone your skills and hone your craft at whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. So that's the find step and finding a purpose. And the second step that's important, there's two steps to this purpose thing, is developing it. So what does it mean to develop a purpose. I mean, it's your purpose. You should just find it and like everything should be good to go. No. And that's kind of the part of failure as well, is you're going to fail in life no matter what you do. And I think a lot of people, especially for me, a lot of people are similar to me, that they're naturally kind of good at a lot of stuff, and not trying to like boast myself up, but I mean, I come from good genes. Like my mom, from my mom's side, I get the smarts and the intellect. From my dad's side, I get kind of like the body genetics, and not necessarily like speed, but I guess I get some athleticism from my mom too. And my dad is not athletic whatsoever, but I come from a pretty good gene pool. And because of that, I've just been naturally good at a lot of stuff. And luckily, I've had parents who have gone through their own experiences and been successful in their own sense, and then met a lot of siblings before me. I'm the youngest, so I've been able to see their experiences and their failures and what they've succeeded at. So obviously, compiling all that information and experience from other people into myself, I can really navigate my life in a super efficient way that I'm going to prioritize and really focus in on what I'm going to be successful at. So when I first went into my mission, that's kind of like the first, not necessarily physically hard thing. For some people, it's really physically demanding. For other people, it's all mental. And there's another kind of part in my kind of developing my mentality and my mindset as well. And I think everyone needs to go through this. If your life's just a cakewalk throughout life, then you don't really do anything hard. Then whenever something hard comes, you're not going to have anything in your, what David Goggins says is your I forget what the actual term he uses, but basically your cookie jar of hard things that you've done in your life. And if it's empty, then you can't pull anything out of that cookie jar, and you're going to crumble in the face of that obstacle that you've never experienced before. So that's the importance of doing hard stuff. But I forgot what I was talking about, but you need to be consistent and really honing your craft, and really honing in on this is your purpose and this is the way that you should go. Because obviously there's going to be times where it's tough and you don't want to do anything, but more times than not, especially if you're disciplined, you're going to be like, I'm psyched to do this. I thoroughly enjoy making this content for everyone. And yeah, some people might think I'm really weird for doing it, but I could care less. And it's hard. It's hard to be consistent. That's one of my goals for the past several months, is just being consistent and posting my content, because that's what's going to lead to success. And just being consistent in whatever you're doing and whatever you're pursuing, because anyone can do it once. It's not many people can do it many times in a row for 50 years. So be consistent. All right. And then 2, involve other people. So in the find stages, meet other people, but in the kind of develop stages, involve other people. So not just meet other people, get to know them, open up new opportunities, but involve them into kind of your purpose or what you're trying to pursue. And just because, like I said, the important part of it, individual purpose, is, all right, am I building or working on something that's bigger than myself, that's going to provide value and impact on other people? So you have to involve other people, but that you have involve other people that you're directly helping yourself, or through secondarily through whatever you're working on, or you're helping them help other people type of thing, and they're involved and they can find their purpose as well. And so that's the importance of involving other people. And then I think this is one of the most important parts: dare to take risks. I mean, me doing this, going live, I mean, a lot of my lives, no one shows up. I post this, it doesn't get too many views. Eventually, I think it will get to the point where a lot of people will view this. To what extent, I don't know. I guess it depends on the algorithm and my consistency on it, and hitting those key SEO words and stuff like that. But anyway, dare to take risks. No one has ever provided a ton of impact and really become not only successful, but, like I said, impactful in their lives when they don't take risks. Like, think of, just because I talked a lot about religion, think of like Jesus Christ and the prophets. Like, they never went out and tried to preach to people or anything. then they would have never converted people. They would have never let people know the truth, never would have helped people in their lives when they were struggling, just because they decided to play it safe. So a lot of people unfortunately play it safe, and honestly, there's nothing wrong with playing it safe. If you want to be average, if you want to play it safe, if you just kind of want to live your life how you do, we live in a time where you can do whatever the heck you want. But just realize that there's going to be consequences for those actions. And nothing good's going to necessarily come of your life because you have not put in the action. You haven't put in the work. You haven't put in the effort. So dare to take risks. And the faster you can overcome what people think of you, the better. Just because if you live life dictated by what other people think and other people's thoughts and impressions, and people influence you that much that you don't pursue what you really want to do and what you really find that's going to be an impact on other people's lives, then you're not really going to make it anywhere. And yeah, along those lines, take risks and don't play it safe. There's the term, again, my guy Rich Cooper, he's awesome. He says that some people play to win, then some people play not to lose. You think of it, I'm a big sports guy, basketball guy. Think of the team who's up 20. More times than not, they're up 20, 5 minutes left in the game. Let's just say 10 minutes, 2 minutes left in the game. A lot of times, more times than not, they're playing not to lose. So they're holding the ball, they're letting time tick off and just holding the ball, hoping to foul. Don't turn the ball over, but don't rush your shot. Don't take an unnecessary shot. You want to milk that clock type of thing. Where a lot of times that's a lot of people do that gives the opposing team the opportunity. They're playing not to win. They're not scoring. They're not putting pressure on us as a defense. Then we're going to up the pressure on them, and we're going to turn them over, steal the ball. We're going to score. We're going to repeat that over again. And a recent BYU game, I think it was BYU versus, I can't remember. It was Creighton. Yeah, Creighton. They're down a bunch of their really good players, either hurt or they fouled out. And BYU was up like 11 or 12 points with like 2 minutes left. They were playing not to lose. They were just holding the ball. They couldn't handle the pressure, and because of that, they almost lost. And they actually won the game, but literally they lost a 13-point lead in like 90 seconds, which is really embarrassing. But you want to play to win, not play to lose. So the teams that maybe they're up 10 with 2 minutes left, they're up 8, they're up 6. They're putting pressure on the defense. They're actively pushing the ball, scoring in transition. If they're get a really good high quality shot, they hit it, then they're going to put the game out of reach and they're going to win. So the same thing applies in life. There's people that play not to lose, and there's people that play to win. And playing to win takes risk. Because you shoot the ball, because you push the ball, there is some potential for turning the ball over, missing the shot, the other team gets it, and they can score right back on the opposite end. But I'd say more times than not, that risk, and life is a game of risk, mitigating risk and reward. And if you don't take any risk, then you're not going to get any reward. So it's plain as simple as that. But at the same time, obviously, you don't want to take too much risk because you're just going to lose everything. So study it out in your mind, think about it, take calculated risks, and when you take the risk, you're going to hop in and put in your effort and your whole heart into it. All right, so that's the second part. You have defined your purpose, what that consists of, develop your purpose. There's two parts of the purpose. All right, now this is kind of a tangent. Maybe it doesn't fit, maybe it does. I thought it was kind of useful, but how can you make your purpose your career? Because I think we live in a time where I think it's awesome because the world revolves around entrepreneurs, and granted, some people are meant to be entrepreneurs and some people aren't meant to be entrepreneurs, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's some people that are meant to be above average, and there's some people that are meant to be average. It's just how it is. There has to be an average somewhere, but not everyone can be above average. That defies the laws of statistics. So for those people that are serious and want to kind of make their purpose a career, it's possible. And like I said, you can have these exclusive, like your individual purpose from your gospel purpose, because obviously you don't want to necessarily monetize on your gospel purpose, but you can monetize on your individual purpose. It doesn't have to necessarily just be charity work. For some people it can. For other people, their purpose can be, I think they can make their purpose their career. I don't think they can make their career their purpose. My thoughts. But being able to make your purpose a career and monetizing it, that's the key word. You need to follow Alex Hormozy. He's super good at this. So follow his YouTube channel. He provides a lot of value. Everything that he does is free. He's not selling or promoting any products, and super valuable information. But make sure you have your purpose surrounding helping or involving other people in some sense. And if you kind of like follow my guideline for kind of coming up and finding and developing your purpose, you should involve in people anyway. But how you make money in just any business is people have money. You need a way to exchange value from what you do, whether that's product or service, in exchange for their money. So that's how businesses work. So you need to involve people, because if it doesn't involve anyone, you just do it to yourself, and you're not gonna make any money off of it. You can't make it a career. And like I said, people pay to be helped, and people pay to have value provided to them, whether it be in the, like I said, form of a product or a service, or like I said, information. One of my weekly tips, like people will pay for information. Like think of the Wall Street Journal. Think of how many hundreds of thousands of people pay for the Wall Street Journal because it's information, and how much money they make off of that. That'd be interesting. I should look at their financials, but I'm sure they make a pretty penny off of that stuff. And that's literally just information. So information is valuable. Being able to compile information, because there's a lot of information out there, a lot of useless information. Probably 90% of information is useless. But if you can get to that 10% that is useful and market it and get it to the right people, they will pay for it because it saves them time. And all right, provide value. So you need to provide value in some way to them, or else you're not going to exchange for their money. All right, did I mention provide value? All right, provide more value. There we go. All right, you provided more value, provide even more value. 3 times, provide value. That's such a the key. And I used to watch a lot of Gary Vee. I think he's kind of fallen off a little bit. A lot of stuff that's happened with him, but I think he still has a lot of useful information. But he goes like, he always goes give, and after you've given, give more. Alex Hormozy says the same thing, and then finally ask, and then give some more after that. So exactly. So provide value, then ask, or ask/sell, like whether that be through a course or through a product or through something that you provide that they can exchange or they can purchase. And then after that, even provide more value and repeat the process. And I really think that building an audience, like you see the reason why a lot of these YouTubers and these influencers are so successful at what they do is not because they necessarily, well, honestly, some people just kind of provide like no value whatsoever. A lot of these they provide value in some way, but all of these like insta models and stuff. But I'd say not including them, but including people who are providing actual value and useful financial tips or useful style tips or useful, I guess some of these insta models, they do makeup and stuff. I know nothing about makeup. Like, you can ask any girl that knows me. Like, I'm like, know nothing about that, nor will I ever know anything about it. But I'm sure they provide some value to other women by doing tutorials and stuff like that. But they provide a lot of value, and then finally they ask for something, they sell something, and then that's how they gain a ton of money, not just from like ad revenue. For some people, ad revenue can be a decent amount of their income streams, but I'm sure with a lot of these big influencers, that's like very little compared to the value they're providing. And then they're finally selling a course or selling consulting or selling a product of some sort. All right, and that's kind of how you monetizing your purpose, and to build an audience, provide value, involve other people, provide even more value. Did I mention providing value? Then provide even more value, then ask/sell, and then continue providing value. Value is the key. All right, I will leave with one last thing. This one's going to be a little bit shorter, and if anyone has any questions, you can let me know. I can do a little bit Q&A. But the importance of leaving a legacy behind, especially for dudes, my guys out there. Who would want to live life? And like I said, a lot of people kind of go through life and maybe they might have a purpose. A lot of times they don't. And they grow up, good family, good childhood, go to school, they go to college after their high school, and they get a pretty good degree, they graduate, maybe get a master's degree, they get a pretty good job, they're getting paid stable income. They meet their spouse, they have their 2.5 kids, um, they buy their house, 3,000 square foot house, 3 bedrooms or 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and they just live life. Their kids get older. They end up going to school themselves, graduating college, start having kids and families of their own, start having their careers, and you live life. You see your grandkids, and life's pretty good. I mean, can't complain. In that case, their legacy kind of would be their family. But there's a lot of dudes out there that are just kind of like living life. And they kind of just like work a job they don't like, or they went to school, they got a degree that's kind of useless, and they have a bunch of debt. They're also in a job they don't like, and they have a car payment that they have to make, and they're just living paycheck to paycheck. They take the annual trip, boys trip every year to Mexico, Cancun, to Vegas, to Miami, or whatever. They blow most of their money on that, and then maybe invest a little. They maybe meet a girl, they have a girlfriend, maybe they get married, probably might not, but you kind of live life, get old, retire, just living off 401k, Social Security. For us, there's probably not going to be any of that. It's the little money that you saved up and invested, so you probably have to work a part-time job to make ends meet, and you just kind of die. You don't leave a legacy. You need to leave a legacy. The importance of that is it gives you motivation right now to do things that might not want to do, and it allows you to think ahead and think in the future for what you could do, what you could accomplish, what you are leaving behind. You have more of a long-term mindset than a short-term mindset, which a lot of people have nowadays, which there is the importance of both. But if you just have a short-term mindset, you're never really going to accomplish anything. You're not going to, especially leave a legacy at the end of your life. So what does a legacy mean? What do you want to be remembered for? How do you want your kids or your future generations to be influenced and kind of remember you and bring you up? I think it'd be pretty sick when either I'm like a grandpa or after I'm dead, and then people are talking about, oh, like tell me the story of Grandpa Mike like doing this, and oh, he kept on filming all these videos, and we're glad we have a record of it. Because I mean, I think of my grandpa and my mom and all of my aunts and uncles after he passed away. Or before he passed away, they kind of compiled a lot of his stories. Imagine if he had those stories, like me telling them, or him telling it himself in video format. Like, we have it written, and that's awesome. It's better than nothing. But imagine if we were able to film a lot of that stuff, and you could like see his face and see his emotion, and see him kind of like, it's almost like you're like there with them, and he's retelling the story in his own words. I think there's a lot of value, and we live in the blessed age of technology where we can make that possible. So I think that's also one of the important things of documenting your life and your journey, because your family would be so grateful. Patrick Bet David has a video on this, like why people should create content. And even if you're not a content person, just because think about your kids, your grandkids, your great grandkids, their grandkids, and like 5 generations down after you. Imagine if they had an extra 30 minutes or an hour or 2 hours or 5 hours of you just speaking and talking about your lives and sharing stories, like kind of like I am right now. How much would they pay for that stuff? You couldn't put a number on that stuff because that stuff's priceless. So that's the importance of doing. That's why a big reason why I do a lot of this stuff, because they'll be able to see all this stuff, and yeah, maybe they think I'm weird, maybe I become uber successful, maybe I don't, but otherwise they still have the content, they still have the stuff they wouldn't have regardless. So I think there's value in that. And then one of my favorite quotes is Joe Rogan said in one of his podcasts. I have it on the screensaver as one of my phones, but it's like, think of life. You live life, and a film crew, documentary film crew, is following you around, and they're making a documentary of your life currently as you're living it. And at the end of your life, they're going to make it into a documentary and show it to your kids, show it to your grandkids. And it's going to be passed down through all of your generations. Think about what you're going to be doing. It's almost like the kind of the saying, like, all right, like God's like always watching you type of a thing. But in this case, it's like a future generation. So whenever times are tough, I kind of like think about that. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, my life might kind of suck for this temporary moment, but think of the enormous benefit if I overcome it and I push through and I keep doing what I need to do to like my future generations. I think that's priceless. I think that's pretty awesome. It gives me a lot of motivation on top of my discipline that I already have. So follow that quote. It's pretty awesome. Imagine if times get tough. Imagine there's a documentary film crew following you around, filming your life, documenting it. They're going to show it to your future generations. And if that's the case, what are you going to do? More times than not, you're probably going to buck up. You're going to be like, all right, I can do this. And you're going to pursue onward. You're going to advance. So that is the end of my spiel tonight. Like I mentioned, just kind of highlighting everything I've talked about. What's your purpose? Why do men need one? Most guys lead lives of quiet desperation. Henry David Thoreau. A lot of people are unsatisfied with their lives and with their jobs, with their careers. They don't know really what the purpose of their life is. What is your purpose? Gospel-centered purpose. There's also your individual purpose, something you can do without getting compensated for the rest of your life, but also something that you're building and you're working on that's really bigger than yourself and has an impact on other people's lives. And I talked about kind of like missionary stories, why missionaries struggle when they come home because they don't have that purpose anymore that they had. They had their gospel purpose and kind of their missionary purpose, but then when they come home, they don't have their individual purpose. They need to find it. So that's really the key. And then the parts of finding, and there's two parts of the purpose and kind of really getting an individual purpose is finding it and developing it. And for those people who are interested about monetizing their purpose, once they kind of figured it out, how to do that, build an audience, provide value. Did I mention providing more value? Involve other people, ask, sell stuff to people, and continue providing value after that. Then the importance of leaving a legacy behind. The documentary quote, remember that, Joe Rogan. He's sick. Document your journey. Your family will be grateful for it. It's priceless. All right. It doesn't look like there's any questions. Let me check real quick. It doesn't look like there's any questions. Not on Facebook, not on YouTube, none on IG. So I'll wrap it up for tonight. I appreciate anyone that participated. Like I said, everything's going to be posted. IG is going to be posted on IG, Facebook on the Facebook page. Follow my Facebook page, Nico Riggs. Also, my YouTube channel, kind of trying to consolidate all of my long form content onto there. So I'm going to be directing traffic to whoever shows up on IG or Facebook Live. I'm going to kind of direct you to the YouTube page, subscribe. All right. Like I do with everything, trying to make you guys stronger, smarter, healthier, and wealthier. So follow for more lives, follow for more tips. All right. Peace out.